I'm Rosalind Young. Schwa is difficult to teach using conventional methods, which base pronunciation teaching on developing listening skills. But with schwa, there is sometimes quite literally no vowel to hear. I use an articulatory approach for teaching pronunciation. This treats pronunciation as a motor skill and treats teaching pronunciation as a coaching type activity. It gives excellent results. This teaching tip is easy to implement, and it even works with students who have had poor pronunciation for many years. They are delighted to find that they can easily make this sound and can hear it in reduced syllables.
I'm Piers Messam. To introduce our teaching tip, we should make 2 points. First, the phonetic background to this tip comes from J.C. Catford. Over many years, he pointed out that from a production point of view, there are actually 2 types of schwa in English. The first is a minimal, reduced vowel-type sound. The second is an incidental noise that occurs when a speaker passes from one consonant to another. This second type of schwa turns out to be very useful pedagogically, as students can learn to make it authentically. Catford described this second type of schwa as an open transition. A transition because it occurs in the transition from one consonant to the next, and open because the consonants don't overlap and something happens between them. A noise appears, creating a syllable. This contrasts with the situation of a close transition between consonants, where the articulation of the consonants overlaps and no sound can appear. Listen to the difference. Plight, polite, train, terrain, tusk, tussock, claps, collapse, sectors, secators. Second, as Helen Fraser pointed out, learners of an L2 bring with them their concepts of pronunciation derived from their L1. They need to change these concepts for L2. This is particularly true for learning English pronunciation, which is so unusual in so many ways. Schwa and reduced vowels in general are an alien concept to most learners. They won't say it properly or even recognize it in speech unless they change their concept of a syllable. The new concept has to include syllables which don't contain a well-formed vowel.
In the classroom, we start with how schwa is produced. I introduce the idea of stuttering using names of people in the class, Paulo or Teresa, for example. I now use back-chaining so that the students are not influenced by the meaning of the sentence they will be saying. As a speaker of British English, I start with to, and I get the students to stutter the T, to. Next, I get the students to control their stutter, exactly 2 stutters before to. Now we can add a core to what they've been saying. The result is the phrase a quarter to 2, pronounced exactly as a native speaker would say it. Students never recognize what they've just said, but when they do finally understand, they know that it sounds authentic. They are always delighted. More to the point, they can now compare what they've always said to this new version. We spend some time with them saying both versions. They have to get the feel of what is happening in their mouths when they use their articulators in this new way. When they think of the meaning, old habits take over. But working from stuttering, they can recreate and control the authentic version. Through stuttering, they have now reconceived English to contain syllables with no vowels.
Notice in a quarter to 2 that because T is an unvoiced sound, between each T in the phrase, there is no vowel at all. The same is true in the first syllable of potato. When English speakers make this type of schwa, they skip the vowel entirely and only use the consonants. This is unthinkable in most languages, and this is the reason why a concept change is necessary. Students can't conceive of a syllable without a vowel, so they always add one.
Other examples are ninth, ninth, 9 1/9, or Fred, for Fred, an offer for Fred. This is Catford's open transition as it is actually made by speakers. Next, we use something very similar to stuttering, but using two different consonants. For example, T for two. We work on the open transition between the F and the T for two. This is no more difficult than stuttering between the same consonants. We have many other sentences and phrases like this. Here are some others. I'll get her to tell you. A piece of paper per person. These azaleas. We were wondering. When voiced consonants are used, there is a little voicing, but speakers don't try to make a vowel sound. The mechanics of speech create a noise. We also work in examples like this from Catford. My shoes dirty, my shoes are dirty.
So as you can see, when we work from a motor skill perspective, i.e. what we actually do to pronounce such sounds, this makes the task astonishingly easy. And since almost every sentence in English has some examples of this, students soon understand just how common this phenomenon is in the language.
Once students realize how open transitions are made, they find the other type of reduced sounds easy to make. They have the concept of syllables which do not contain normal vowels. This is a pivotal moment in teaching pronunciation. For the rest of the course, whenever a student speaks, I can say, now say it in English, and he can reduce syllables correctly.
We've been using this way of working on schwa for 10 years now. It demonstrates how you can work on pronunciation as a motor skill rather than as sounds to be copied. In contrast to received wisdom, which says that perception needs to come first, our experience is that students make better progress when they don't try to copy a model. The articulatory approach gives them three things. It gives them the means to pronounce well. It creates any concept change that is needed. And once students can start to make features of pronunciation, they start to be able to hear them in normal speech.
Notice too that we are teaching neither phonetics nor phonology. We are straightforwardly teaching pronunciation as the motor skill it clearly is.